She once said,
"I am a plain woman of uncertain age, standing 6 feet in my stockings. I scribble a bit for various sporting journals, and I would rather fish any day than go to heaven."
And fish she did. Flyvault.net presents Where the River Bends, a fly fishing short story. And now, Where the River Bends. In the rolling hills of western Maine, among the tall pines and quiet lakes, a story was unfolding, one that would shift perceptions of women, the wilderness, and what was possible. In 1854, Lemuel and Thurza welcomed their daughter Cornelia into the world. Tragically, her father died when she was very young, leaving her to be raised by her mother. In 1868, tuberculosis, a disease that had already claimed countless lives, struck the family. It took her beloved brother Ezekiel from them far too soon and left Cornelia with compromised health, causing her to be bedridden periodically throughout her life. A frail teenager wrapped in blankets might have seemed like just another invalid. But something magical happened in those woods. The same streams that whispered to the trout began to whisper to her soul. As a young adult, Cornelia worked several jobs, notably as a bank clerk and even for the railroad. However, everything changed in 1878 when Charles Wheeler, a local outdoorsman and artisan, gifted her a handcrafted fly rod. That simple gift ignited a spark that would alter the course of her life. The Rangeley Lake soon became her second home, and her first catch wasn't just a fish, it was the beginning of her future. In an era when women were expected to be delicate flowers, Cornelia became a true wilderness warrior. Adopting the pseudonym Fly Rod, she began writing a syndicated column called Fly Rod's Notebook. Through her vivid descriptions of Maine's wilderness, she captured the imagination of readers from New York to Boston to Chicago. Her words transported city dwellers to mountain streams and pine forests, fueling their dreams of the wild. In 1895, the Big Apple came calling. Madison Square Garden hosted its first sportsman's exposition, and Cornelia made sure she stood out. Wearing a knee-length doeskin skirt that both scandalized and captivated onlookers, she drew immediate attention. This remarkable display was part of a larger effort to showcase Maine's wilderness, for which she had convinced the Maine Central Railroad to sponsor the state's first booth. Alongside a few Rangeley guides and others, she set up a modest yet captivating exhibit featuring taxidermy and a log cabin, bringing great visibility to the state and helping to spark a rise in tourism. Cornelia continued to expand the display in the following years, returning to Madison Square Garden's Outdoor Expo in 1896, 1897, and 1898. She documented her experiences in articles, writing not only about her eye-catching sporting outfit by Spaulding Brothers, but also about her encounters with famous figures like sharpshooter Annie Oakley. Their friendship, two boundary-breaking women, was a powerful testament to the growing strength of women challenging an era that barely recognized their capabilities. While Oakley shot targets, Cornelia cast lines, both captivating hearts and defying conventions while inspiring young women of the era. At the 1897 Sportsman's Exposition, Cornelia received news that the Maine state legislature had passed a bill she had lobbied for. For years, she had worked with the Maine Sportsman's Fish and Game Association to advocate for the licensing of fishing guides, a measure intended to generate funds for wildlife conservation. In recognition of her tireless efforts, the state of Maine honored her by ceremonially awarding her the first guide license in 1898. Life is full of challenges, and the next one Cornelia faced would change her life forever. In 1899, she suffered a serious knee injury. While accounts of the incident differ, some say she fell while disembarking a train, others suggest her skirt got caught and she was dragged. Cornelia herself later recalled slipping on a piece of coal. Regardless of the cause, the injury left her both physically debilitated and emotionally shaken. Her once active pursuits of fly fishing and hunting became infrequent, and her writing slowed as she spent much of her time in and out of hospitals. In the final 2 decades of her life, Cornelia shifted her focus to church and community service. Despite her reputation as a rugged outdoors woman, she was deeply spiritual. After converting to Catholicism, she became a committed philanthropist, raising funds for a chapel in Oquasoc. Additionally, she founded the Glad Helpers, a Christian service organization dedicated to empowering young women. Cornelia was far more than a legendary athlete. She was a marketer, conservationist, writer, and role model. She redefined what was possible for women of her time. From a fragile child, prescribed mountain air for her health, to a national icon, she transformed how America viewed wilderness, women, and opportunity, becoming a cornerstone of the region. November 11th, 1946, just one day after her 92nd birthday, marked the day the world lost Cornelia to the heavens she put off. As we look back in time to the marvel that was her life, the contributions she made, and her passion of the craft, we must realize there will only ever be one Cornelia, Fly Rod Crosby. And now you have heard a long-lost story from a tyre's bench, and one you can share with your friends when you meet them, where the river bends. Mum and I were sitting on the front porch, sipping on our morning coffee and watching the drizzle. That's when your subscribe button came outside, leading a pack mule loaded to the hilt. He grabbed his binoculars, apparently peering at the rainbow, pointed at it as he yelled at us, "I'm going to be rich," with that stupid grin of his. You know, I don't like to call people names, but he truly is a moron. Take care, my friends, and as always, happy tying.